Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. My name is Shannon. This is Cosmic Goddess Healing. Um, I had a really beautiful day yesterday. I had a day off work, and I was feeling incredibly creative yesterday and inspired. And I ended up making a couple of videos for my channel. I've already posted both those videos. Today's video is like really scary because it's me being vulnerable and sharing my whole story with you, sharing all my trauma, all my pain, all of the lessons that led me to this moment right here, to becoming a divine feminine, to becoming a healer, to becoming whole within myself, to coming back to myself. I can honestly sit here and say that I'm whole. I'm not whole because I have a person in my life. I'm not whole because of a job I have or a title or money. I am whole because I have done the healing work and I have looked within to see myself. I am in love with me. I am in love with the woman that I am today. I am in love with the beautiful soul that I am. I'm whole. I have found myself again. I remember who I am today. And that's a really powerful place to be. But anyways, I was laying on the couch last night and I'd already made the two videos, and I was sitting there and all of a sudden another idea came to me for another video. And I felt like it was so important to come on and talk about this because I think, and forgiveness is what I want to talk about. I think forgiveness has been a huge part of my learning journey. Um, it it started with forgiveness of self. When I started doing the work, if you've watched my story video, I talk about addiction and being in recovery and overcoming that addiction. And part of what I called step work, doing that written work in the 12-step program I'm in, talks about forgiveness. And there's a process of the work that you do within that 12-step guide. It begins with surrender, really surrendering to the fact that you are powerless over your addiction. Um, and then it's like, okay, once you surrender, now it's like, let's take a deep dive into who I am as a person, what I like, what I don't like, what do I need to forgive. Because most addicts stay stuck in the cycle of addiction because they hate themselves. They hate themselves for what they've done to people. They hate themselves for not being productive members of society. They hate themselves. So trust me when I say, your judgment or your criticism of an addict is nothing compared to what they're doing to themselves internally. Um, they know what they're doing is wrong, but they can't help it. They're stuck in a cycle. So I wanted to really touch on forgiveness of somebody who's wronged us, because that's a tough one, I think. And I mean, I touched on something pretty sensitive yesterday in my video, that I was sexually assaulted as a teenager. I was raped. Sorry to be graphic, but that is what happened. And it was a very traumatic situation for me because it wasn't even just a private sexual assault. Most of my high school came in and out of that room witnessing the assault. And nobody did anything about it. Nobody stopped it. If anything, I was totally slut shamed for the remainder of that school year. Not a single person, including my girlfriends, stood up for me. I was labeled the school slut, that I liked it, that I wanted people to come in and watch what happened. And of course I didn't. I was drugged. I was given a drug that made me paralyzed. I remember seeing everything happening, but it was like I was not in my body. Like I had no control of my body. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I just laid there on my back, letting this happen essentially, and watching all these people coming in and out of the room, doing nothing about it, like this was entertainment. So that was my first big forgiveness. When I looked back and I had to look at all the things done to me, and I'm going to use that as the example because that's a tough one. And I know for people out there that are going to be watching this video and that also have been affected by another person in that way, or you've been harmed so greatly by another human being that you can't let go, that you're so full of anger towards that person and you want them to hurt. You want to cause them the same pain that they caused you. But I'm telling you right now, that's not what's happening. And the more you harbor anger inside of yourself for that person, you're actually just directing that anger back at yourself. And I know that's a really hard thing to grasp, but we are one unit. Collectively, we are one energy. We are all connected to God in the universe or whatever you believe in. For me, it's God. I'm going to call it God. We are one unified energy. And what I wish upon you, I'm actually wishing back upon me. So be very careful with that. If you're feeling very angry at somebody for harming you, be very careful what you're directing at that person, because you're actually creating that back to yourself. You're just creating a karmic loop that is going to come back and give you that same energy back to yourself. So um, forgiveness is going to be huge in your journey. Forgiveness is a very big piece for me. And I jotted down some notes, how I did this, how I was able to forgive others to free myself, because essentially that's what I'm doing. I'm freeing myself from the bonds and the chains that are holding me to that trauma, that are holding me to that person. And I want you to know that it's not about forgiving the act. Um, what that boy did to me in that hotel room was heinous. It was disgusting. But I also know that that boy was only acting from his trauma. That boy was only acting from what he was taught by his parents. Or maybe he was sexually assaulted as a young boy and he thought that that was okay behavior. And once I started to look at it from that lens of, shit, he's just as broken. He's coming from a broken place. A healed, normal, healthy person doesn't behave that way. So I started looking at that boy from a place of a soul. I looked past his walls, I looked past his trauma, and I looked to the soul of that little boy, because that's what's at the soul level. So excuse me. I hope that you've been able to hear this whole video. Just realize that my microphone has not been on this whole. Staying on. So sorry, guys. I don't know why this microphone is not staying. Technical difficulties. I'm just going to hold this mic for now because every time I clip it to my shirt, it doesn't seem to want. I'm just going to keep going with this. I'm not going to let a technical difficulty stop me from this message because it's really important. And I don't know what's going on with the microphone, but it doesn't matter. And normally I would get very stuck on that thing and stop the video, but I'm not going to do that. So back to forgiveness. I think if you're dealing with a person that's really harmed you in a way that you feel you can't get past, try and look at that person from a soul level. Try and look past the thing that they did to you and see them at a soul level. See them as a broken soul that is behaving from trauma, from a place of trauma. And you don't need to forgive the act. The act does not need to be forgiven. You just need to forgive the soul so that you can be free, so that you can move on. I wrote a couple of notes. Forgive the soul of the person so they don't hold power over you anymore. You don't have to forgive the act itself, but it doesn't have to keep you prisoner anymore in your mind. And it is, the longer you dwell on it, the longer you stay angry about it, you're keeping yourself prisoner. That's what you're doing. You will forgive the soul behind the monstrous act so you can be free of them. Now let them go with love and peace so that you can rise empowered. I've had to use this for a lot of different people in my life, and a tactic or a technique that's worked for me along the way has been anybody that I feel frustrated with or angry with, or I want you to hurt just the same way you've hurt me. With people like that, I actually send them love. And I know you're gonna be like, I can't do that, Shannon. How in the heck could you send love to somebody that sexually assaulted you? Well, I do. Every morning, for whatever person I may be fixated on, and in the last couple of years, it's been my twin flame. He's hurt me deeply in so many different ways, and sometimes I've wanted to hurt. I've wanted him to hurt. I've wanted to make him hurt in the same way he's hurt me. But I've really had to practice this technique of every time I feel that way, I actually send love. I close my eyes and I picture him sitting there, and I place my hands on his chest, and I picture sending love to him. Love and light and compassion and healing and growth. And I sit there and I do that, and I let go, and I let him go with love, and I keep doing this. And I implore you, if you're struggling with forgiveness and you're struggling with how to forgive somebody that's really harmed you, try this technique. Try it for a week. Every day for a week, every morning, even if it makes you sick inside to have to do this, trust me and do it. Send love and kindness to that person that's harmed you, and picture them in a bubble of light, and you watch what comes back tenfold to you. That person it's going to fall away. The anger, the resentment, all the feelings you have tangled up with that person are going to fall away. And you're going to have all that love and all that light come pouring back into you, because you were able to forgive not the action, but the human being and the soul that is behind that action, because they're broken too. They are only working from a place of their trauma. And I don't believe people are bad people. I just think they've been through very bad experiences that shape them into the nasty people they become. But at the core of them, there's a soul, and every soul is pure. It's the human experience that shapes the monster that the person becomes. But at the core of them, there is a beautiful soul that is still connected to God and light. They've just lost their way. So I hope this video helps you. I love you guys. I hope you have a very beautiful day. Again, I'm so sorry if the sound is off on this. I had no idea the microphone wasn't working. I'm hoping that the sound came through on this, because I do think it's an important message. Love you. Mwah.